Welcome to On the Record, Updates and Echoes, a podcast by the Pocahontas Record-Democrat. I'm Erin Summers. We're sponsored this month by Tees and Field Co. Thank you again for your support. The Pocahontas City Council has selected its next city clerk. You can pick up this week's paper to see who they picked, and you can also read about the council, which had a meeting earlier in the week as well, where they discussed tax increment financing and the tax increment financing district in Pocahontas. TIF stuff is tricky and I don't fully understand it, but basically it's a way to encourage development and reduce taxes for businesses that either come here new or that grow and expand. There's a lot of rules, it's rather complicated, and the city council is trying to figure out how to fix what they've got and get a bigger urban renewal area put together so they can use more of those taxes that they raise through new development to do better improvements around the city. You can see what all they had to say in this week's Record Democrat. I met with Dr. Samir Elias, the new doctor at the Unity Point Clinic and Pocahontas Community Hospital last week. He's making a big transition from the urban East Coast to the rural Midwest, and it seems like he's settling in really well. You can read that story in the Record Democrat and the Lorenz Sun this week. I was able to interview Senator Chuck Grassley last week as well. The other reporter and I on the call talked with him about Dr. Anthony Fauci's testimony and likely U.S. Attorney General Todd Blanche. You can read the whole story in all three papers this week. It's almost time for the Princess City Car Show. The show, which takes place in downtown Pocahontas, is in its 25th year. Come and check it out on Saturday from 3 to 6 p.m. On Monday, the PAC board held one of the hearings required to get a bond vote on the ballot this fall for a bunch of planned school building improvements and construction and track improvements, and they just have a whole long list of things that really need to be addressed. You can see what board members had to say at the meeting in this week's Record Democrat and Sun. I spent a little bit of time at the Albert City Thresherman show on Friday. The equipment, as always, was huge and interesting. Things were moving. It also rained a little. You can see my pictures in the paper this week. I went to Newell a few times last week. First was on Monday when I got to watch as city staff members and historical society members opened up a time capsule that had been buried for 50 years. Some of the items were in pretty rough shape coming out of the box, but not all of them. I've got pictures in the BV Journal this week. I also headed to Newell on Saturday for Watermelon Days. Find those pictures in this week's journal as well. That wraps up the updates for this week. Stay tuned for a discussion of some historical car articles that I found in some old papers. We invited Katie Halligan, who has definitely jump-started my car at least once, and who loves old cars, to talk about these old car articles with us. We thought the topic was a good one, considering the car show is coming up this weekend. One last thing, please like our page on Facebook and YouTube, and subscribe to follow us on Spotify and YouTube. I'd love to hear a comment from you about something you've enjoyed on the podcast so far. Up next is the Echoes part of the show. Welcome to the Echoes part of the show. I'm Erin Summers. With me is Sandy Rutherford, and we brought back Katie Halligan for a couple of reasons. Like I already mentioned, she has definitely jump-started my car before. She was involved with the car show for a lot of years. And when I started reading these old tidbits about car articles, I guess, the first person I thought of was Katie, because I think she will enjoy these as much as I did. And again, the car show is this Saturday in Pocahontas. We hope that you go and enjoy it. There's always a really good turnout. And some of these cars would have been driving on the road when these articles ran in local newspapers. So we are going to start on October 22nd, 1914 in the Pocahontas Democrat. It's not really a story about cars, and it's not really local. I just thought it was funny. I don't actually know where it's from. So it's this
Which page are we on?
So
these don't have.
Yes. So it's this one with the cartoon right here. It is the only one that says Pocahontas Democrat on the top, I think.
It's the one on the back, of course.
Yeah. So down here at the bottom, about the auto.
The auto.
Yeah. A schoolgirl was required to write an essay of 200 words about an automobile. This is what she wrote. My uncle bought an automobile. He was riding in the country when it busted going up the hill. I guess this is about 50 words. The other 150 words are what my uncle said when he was walking back to town, but I don't care to write them down. A, that was not 50 words, even any of it. B, I'm sure they were not printable in 1914 or today. But I just thought it was funny,
it's a good way to get around having to write all the words.
Exactly. So then we are going to move on to the Pocahontas Sun on April 6, 1905. And that one is this one with the Murphy ad down in the
Local
right
news,
corner.
Local news. You keep grabbing the ones that are at the
On the
back of my
back.
sheet.
Sorry. The
You have to
item,
bear with me here.
the first item I'm talking about is kind of here in the middle of the page, and it says, Theodore Johnson, the marathon gas engine expert, came over yesterday and adjusted a jump spark outfit to EC Windsor's engine. Mr. Johnson understands his business. He doesn't do anything by guesswork. I was like, well, there's a
It's amazing that it's newsworthy,
yes,
right?
right?
Like all of the things that are printed, you're like, is this is newsworthy? This is what goes into it.
This is what goes into it, and to be fair, like I could see myself writing a column. Did I write a column about the flat tire that I had over Mother's Day? I did. And how I had to learn how to change it by myself. We can talk about that a little bit later because there's an item that will relate. But yeah, like this is just like news on page 2. Someone came over and adjusted an engine.
It feels very like locally, even though it isn't necessarily under their locals.
Yes. Yeah, very much like someone called up or, went over and told the little old lady who wrote up the local news.
Right.
Yeah,
Or
very
like,
much so.
so-and-so was over to dinner. It's
Yes.
definitely in that same grain of,
Yeah.
okay, so this happened. Great.
Yes, absolutely. I would like to contrast that with, in the upper right, we have this ad for a buggy from the Buggy Company. Harness. The time is here when you will be thinking about a new harness, a collar, bridles, lines, a pad, or repairs for your harness. Remember, my make of farm and buggy harness always gives the best of satisfaction. I make my goods with special care, both as to quality and appearance. When in doubt, see my line and get prices. C.A. Westman. What a time to be alive.
Yeah.
We have gas engines, and we still are running horse and buggy. Almost everyone's still running horse and buggy.
The parking would have been interesting.
Oh, sure. Yeah, and
'Cause
cars
you'd still have to have the rails to harness your horses, or tie up your horses. And
it's like my hometown with all the Amish. There's buggy
Yeah.
parking everywhere.
Mhm.
And there's I forget what they call them, but yeah, like the tie outs for your buggies, and they're even at Walmart. There will be a side where, like, on the side of the end of the store, not the main entrance, but there will be a little buggy parking area.
Wow.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's what's kind of fun about the car show. Not to like plug it back in,
Yeah.
but that honestly is what's fun about the car show, is seeing each year of car, right? And kind of imagining what the world was like back then. So, you got the 1950s, muscle cars, right? So what did that sound like going down
Yes.
the road? Or even the family cars, the big sedans, the little boats. What would parking be like? Your street would be completely packed full of just steel, just
Yes.
American steel.
Yes.
Yeah. I drove a 1966 Buick in high school for a while, and it was a boat. It was a boat.
Yeah.
I got to ride in a Model T a couple weeks ago. That we were at Greenfield Village and the Henry Ford Museum in Dearborn, Michigan. If you love museums, read my column last week. It's all, or maybe it's this week. I think it's this week's column, actually. One of them. But one of the things you can do is ride in a Model T. Like there's a driver. You don't get to drive it, but there's a driver, and he drives you around the village. Like, it's a very short route, but there's no windows. It's just a frame and some seats.
What a different way to travel.
Yes.
The thought process. So, like, as a
Yeah.
mother or having a family, like, okay, what would be the process in order to travel? And it's not like you were traveling huge distances, but it would take you a while.
It would take a
Yeah.
while. Yeah.
And so, not having any windows or not having a very good heater, certainly not air conditioning.
No
all of
third
those
row.
things. Yeah,
There were
no
5
third
of
row.
us, and with a driver, we had to actually split into 2 vehicles for all 5 of us to fit in.
No
Because
rumble seat in the back.
no rumble seat on those. Now, maybe a little bit of that, I'm sure, is safety issues. But yeah. So yeah, just comparing that to then going out and getting in our minivan afterwards. It's different. So anyway, there was also a bit, and I couldn't re-find it, but I typed it. This EC Windsor, who had an engine, he had also placed an ad that week that said he was selling the 2 best manure spreaders on the market. So those were his words. And it got me thinking, I'm like, he must have been a real early adopter of technology to already have a gas engine vehicle in 1905 and to be selling manure spreaders. Like, I've tested these out. Now let's sell these and move on to the next thing. So
Right.
I don't know who he was, but I just thought, like, to show up that often, probably also friends with the newspaper editor. Let's be honest, to get mentioned like that. So that was that page, and that was, don't forget the Pocahontas sun is Lorenz. So that's what those were. Now we're going to June 3rd, 1920, which is this one with all of these faces on the right. And this, I'm going to read a little bit longer pieces, but I'm going to give you a little bit. So there's a big section here on advice on how to run and care for your car, because people would not have known how to do that. So here on June 3rd, 1920, the Record Democrat ran a big section of advice on how to run and care for your car. And I did go down a little bit of a rabbit trail. Iowa PBS had some historical background that we can use. By 1922, Iowa was second behind California in the number of automobiles per person in the country. For every 5 Iowans, there was 1 car in 1922. Oh. So speaking of early adopters,
wow,
it was Iowa. So the headline, I know, I thought that was really interesting. The headline is Things to Know About Your Car. Watch your generator and storage battery carefully during season changes. Due to the change of seasons from the cold weather conditions to warmer, it is well to see that the generator may have been boosted to take care of the cranking conditions and should be charged to take care of, I think I typed it here twice, but change to take care of the cranking conditions brought about by warm weather. It is not necessary to have as much current flowing into a storage battery during the warmer weather as it is during the cold, because of the fact that the oil is not as heavy and the engine is not so hard to crank. So I thought that was kind of interesting. There's some information about how a wheel will absorb shock, so just kind of trying to sell you on some better wheels. So I thought that was really interesting. And then
can I say that you read it together, but the little headings at the top of that did not actually match with the paragraphs.
Okay.
Like it gave you all of give you the things to know about your car, and then 3 different headings that went to 3 different paragraphs below it.
Okay, is that, yeah. So.
And I thought I made a note about that because that's crazy.
Yeah.
Just subheads all at the top, and
so many.
Then you gotta like match them up.
Yeah. There's also little auto notes from near and far on here. It says Iowa has more than 302,000 motor vehicles. The history of the motor truck antedates the passenger automobile. Between 6,000 and 7,000 motorcycles are in use in the Netherlands, which I always think of the Netherlands and bicycles. Yeah. But apparently for a while we liked motorcycles. More than 306,000 horses were displaced by motor trucks last year. Motor trucks is just a word that does not come smoothly out of my mouth.
Motor trucks.
I might have to start using it.
Yes, it's a good one. It's a good one. Sales of automobiles in British Columbia totaled 6,000 cars last year. Rubber tires on motor, that one's a hard to read,
trailers
are required in Michigan and Wisconsin. So no wooden tires on your motorized vehicle. So
that'd be comfy.
Yeah. Well, I was just out at the Thresherman show and took some pictures of metal tires with just like studs.
Yep.
So so I think the next
be able to go through the mud.
Yes. So that was from that page. I mean, there's a lot on that page, but I couldn't believe how much stuff I found. Like this was just popping up. And so this next one is this page with this lady at the top, and that is December 1920 from the Pocahontas Record. Road courtesy aids motorist. Spirit of kindly feeling adds greatly to joy of motoring in the country. A special need of chivalrous attitude on part of experienced operator. Women not skilled in coping with trouble. One of the big pleasures of modern motoring lies in the fact that whether the trip is 100 or 1,000 miles, the motorist has every reason to feel sure that he will finish his journey without having to climb out of his car to undertake the disagreeable job of making repairs on the road. But now and then some mishap occurs, and a courtesy of the road that all motorists can extend with little inconvenience to themselves is an offer of help to a fellow motorist whose car has become stranded. So, even in 1920, please help people out. Again, thanks for that time that you jump-started my car.
Yeah. Those are the easy jobs.
Yeah.
Changing a tire or jump-starting a car are pretty easy, but the way that they make vehicles anymore, it's a little bit more complicated to help out a stranded motorist.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, because I could stop and help somebody, but they've got a cell phone. They've already called for help. and B, I know nothing about a car. Like,
Well, and we trust people less.
We do trust people less.
Like I don't really want to stop because maybe you're gonna do something you shouldn't.
Yeah, maybe you're just creepy.
Yeah.
So so we're gonna skip ahead to this last little subhead on here. It says many women unskilled. It's very broad.
That seems vague.
With the number of women drivers rapidly increasing, some of them not skilled in coping with tire trouble or bad ignition, there is an especial need of a chivalrous attitude on the part of experienced drivers. The women probably ought not to be driving at all unless they know enough about a car to be able to make simple repairs, but the fact remains that some are without the requisite knowledge. Again, cars are more complicated now. Most of us don't know how to fix our cars if we're, minor things.
It's so computerized that it's pretty hard to do.
It is. So anyway, I just, that part made me giggle. I
do have to say that the mechanics nowadays, they know stuff, man.
They do.
So when we went out to Colorado Springs last time, my alternator died or was dying. It was making this weird whirring noise. And so we actually FaceTimed, or I guess it was on Facebook, but a friend of ours who's a mechanic, been a mechanic for years, and he, I put the phone next to the engine and he went, yeah, you need to find a shop. That's not good.
Yeah.
So thank God for, I think it was EA Tire and Repair or something like that. EAS, I don't know. Shout out to them in Colorado Springs. They were amazing. They were open at 7:30 a.m. on a Sunday.
That's rare.
So
I know you were very lucky.
Yeah.
That is cool though, that they can just listen and know. The last one I will point out is this Pocahontas Record Democrat from October 4th, 1934.
It's right behind there.
There we go. And the reason that I pulled this one out is here we are now. It's the 1930s, and it is an ad for Iowa's concrete roads. Iowa's concrete roads pay you dividends. Concrete, the modern motor road. I'd drive twice as far to stay on concrete. Am I guilty of skipping gravel as much as possible? I don't like driving on gravel. It's dusty.
Totally.
It's dirty. I don't go as fast.
Google says turn here, and I'm like, no.
Yeah, I've argued with Google too. Travel is safe and pleasant on concrete. Time flies and distances are shortened by its magic. Inferior pavements are costly in wear and tear on nerves and car. They steal your time and your temper. Relax as you ride by keeping to concrete and save up to 2 cents per mile in gas, oil, tires, and repairs compared with the cost of driving on inferior surfaces. Businesses and tourists follow concrete.
That's funny.
It's great.
Would you choose a concrete road after reading this and being like, oh, I don't want to drive on those inferior roads?
I mean, is it saving me 2 cents a mile or something? I mean,
who's advertising this though?
The Portland
what do they get out of it?
Yeah. And I don't know what this, I should have looked, but I didn't. But an open letter to Henry Ford is a booklet worth having. It's free. Like what? I wonder what that booklet is.
Interesting.
So I may have to look it up sometime and let you guys know. But
yeah.
So all kinds of fun stuff about cars. I'm not a super duper car person. We all have our own car struggles. Like I said, I did just spend 2 days at the Henry Ford Museum. I saw a lot of old cars and trains and carriages and historic houses and learned a lot about Henry Ford. And it is fun. And then to come back and do this episode is a good time too. So
it's an influential point in our history too.
Very much so.
The invention of the car and then what happened from there.
Yes.
All of the other inventions that were made or made better because of the invention of the
car. Well, and the demise of the small town because of the car. Absolutely. I drive 25 miles every day that I come into work. And I don't even think about it. I don't even blink because it does, with the concrete, it doesn't take me very long. And thanks state of Iowa for raising that speed limit. I can go just a little faster.
Yes.
Doesn't shave much time off, but
there are faster. Small towns that you see a lot of big houses, and it's just because they are close enough to the bigger town. And that's made possible by automobile.
Yes, absolutely.
And motor trucks.
And motor trucks.
Yes. Yes. So did you find any other fun ones you wanted to point out, Sandy?
No, I think you caught them all, other than the one, the tire
Oh,
that didn't
yeah,
deflate.
yeah.
But and that, I have to say, we had a bike when I was growing up. It wasn't necessarily in the best shape, but it had tires that didn't deflate. There was no tube in them. And did we ride that until there was probably a 4-inch hole in that sucker and it collected gravel? Yes.
It's like Kieran just asked me the other day why tires aren't just solid rubber and why there have to be tubes in your bicycle tire, and I was like, because it's bouncier. I don't know.
Yeah,
Comfort of the
it
rider.
was much better to have the regular tires, but that one was fun. It would get gravel in the tire and make all kinds of noise.
Oh, nice, nice. So, all right, that's old cars and tires and roads. Thank you all for watching, and we will be back again next week.